parchment landscape from another moon, a handcrafted carpet here on earth woven into Mother Nature's loom. The badlands of Cappadoccia sizzle and burn, swept clean by the wind of nature's broom. Off the beaten path in a traveller's dreams, fairy chimneys thrown from heaven, it seems, flutes and spires display an artful craft. Where do they come from? And more importantly, why? Dreamy questions that noble answers imply. There is a ballad in these badlands, sculpted with sensitivity by God's hands, that sings a melody of ancient times, when the earth's artifacts express themselves as none other than poems of nature that rhyme. I loved Istanbul, but my favourite part of my summer was our trip to Cappadocia. I loved every moment of it. I loved sleeping uncomfortably on a 9-hour overnight bus, surreal bus stations in the middle of nowhere. I loved climbing, looking for shade, being too hot, and feeling perpetually covered in a thin layer of dirt and sand. All of it felt like freedom.
40 degrees, baby.
Factor 50 for this.
When you come from a cold place, you cope by drawing inwards. You hide. You hide your body in wool. You hide yourself in a house by a fire. You live in the cosy confines of your mind. But heat draws you out of yourself. It's like a magnet, and outpours sweat as if the walls of your skin have opened up. You can hear your body what it's saying. Its need for shade, its need for water. You can feel the sky on you. It's like your brain is on your skin, instead of in a cave deep inside your head, carved out to hide within. I'm a bit of a thinker. For most of the year, my internal world feels more real than the external one. That's why I worship the sun so much. That's why I seek it out so seemingly obsessively, even if only to have to hide from it in the shade. I don't need it to be pleasant or comfortable. I just want to feel my brain is in my skin. I want to exist in my whole body and beyond it. I want to be drawn out. Merhaba.
Merhaba.
Hello. Welcome to my house.
At one point in a cafe in Balat, we befriended a really lovely girl who gave us advice on where to visit. She fell upon us, telling us how much she loved Ireland and wanted to visit. Our forests and folklore and climate seemed to her the height of magical. So it must be a facet of human nature that we romanticize climates unlike our own. Because for those of us who live in wet, green countries, nothing compares to the mysticism of the desert, the drama of an arid landscape. The idea of heat alone is somehow mystical to me. Maybe it's because the religions that form the bedrock of our cultural mythology all involve journeys through deserts in search of promised lands. Whether it's 101 Arabian Nights, the Torah, cowboys in the Wild West, 2 Australian drag queens in a camper van, Turkish poetry, or Thelma and Louise, those driest places on earth always seem to represent the same things: yearning, searching, and the desire for freedom.
We're going on a quad bike later, and Roshan's gonna drive.
I think you have too much faith in me.
But you've driven a quad bike before, haven't you?
No,
Oh, I thought you said you had.
no, not at all. I like Roshan's a professional. I was like, forget just like Mario Kart in real life. And we were like, professional. I do think I will be a good driver.
You've driven a scoot around a lot.
It's just like a mobility scooter.
Desert is the backdrop to anyone who wants to escape. It is for outlaws, explorers, yearners. If Roisin and I went to the desert in search of a certain freedom, it was undoubtedly a corporeal one. Our friendship was forged in the fire of our oddly parallel medical journeys. I had an autoimmune disease, she had a spinal cord injury. Ultimately, though, we had both had an interesting few years, to put it mildly. Leading up to this trip, we had both been bedridden for months at a time. We had been in those 40 days in the desert. We had been searching, yearning, living frugally on hope. We didn't fully articulate this to each other at the time. To have escaped our beds, our homes, our own seemingly endless journeys was euphoric. Nowhere could that be felt more than on a quad bike on an open road, or sitting on an empty valley watching a sunset, or climbing a hill, neither of us sure whether we could do it, but unashamed in our hope that we could. If one of us had been able-bodied, she might have asked the other, "Are you sure you can do this?" But in Cappadoccia we said nothing. We merely caught each other's eye with a defiant glimmer. Here, at the very edge of the continent, in this dry, seemingly mythical land, we were free. We had gotten this far. Why not try to go the whole way?
What's going on?
Wow. I don't think I've been this happy in like years.
This is it. This is life.
With hearts of gold, but there is
You know what's lovely? All these people are just here getting really excited about the earth. Like that's just what we're all doing. We're just sitting here. Yeah. With a big gang of people from all over the world just being like, wow. Look at those rocks. Look at that sun. Yeah, like, that's so lovely. With your hairnet.
Hairnet removal. Take one. That'll be the only take since I'm not gonna. Okay, ready?
Oh. Oh, that was actually quite good.
Thank you.
That's it. Happy with it.
We were dreamers of an ancient dream in an ancient land. Outside society somehow, lost on earth, as if it all belonged to us, as if the roads were open, and we were infinitely free to roam and exist in some ecstatically fundamental way. I don't know how I feel about that genre of YouTube video that waxes poetic about the virtue of travel. Travel is not some big profound thing. It's self-serving and ecologically reprehensible and ethically dubious, to say the least. I don't suggest at all that it's altruistic or spiritually enlightened or even some sort of fundamental element of the meaning of life. But I can only be honest. Sometimes, when you do it right, in the best moments, to travel is to feel completely free and anonymous and aware of yourself as a creature on the earth, grappling with it in some visceral, immersive way. We can argue forever if it's possible to do it ethically or morally or in a way that is right or wrong. But boy, oh boy, does it make you feel alive.